The 2024 Pokemon World's runner-up used a interesting team to qualify for the Japan National Championship featuring Rhyperior. We're going to be trying out this team and seeing how well it can perform. This is a team that was able to do extremely well in the Japan Nats qualifier, and it features Yvesangelist, Choice Specs Kyogre, and Assault Vest Rhyperior. Let's break it down. First, we have the Clear Amulet Calyx Ice Rider to prevent it from getting affected by Intimidate, with as one for the ability with Terra Grass as the type, with Glacial Lance, Seed Bomb, Trick Room, and Protect. We see the Terra Grass Calyx Ice Rider. It's really strong, setting up a Trick Room, really bulky Pokemon in general. The Terra Grass is used for multiple different things, including resisting really strong water type attacks from Rain from Kyogre Water Spout, opposing Urshifu Rapid Strike, which is kind of important when you are powering up their Urshifus with your own Kyogre, but as well as being able to be immune to the spores and sleep powders from Amoonguss and other Pokemon, as well as the ability to power up your own Seed Bomb and give it the same type of attack bonus so it can dish out more damage against opposing water types. Can be a fantastic synergy that just allows this Calyx Ice Rider to dish out a ton of damage with a lot of investment into its HP, because Calyx Ice Rider is an extremely bulky Pokemon. A good amount of attack with base 165 with the 116 in Adamant nature, giving an extra boost to its attack with a +1 extra stat point, alongside a bit more special defense just to be able to take on, for instance, an Electro Drift from a Choice Specs Rhydon, and having a bit of speed. The 52 speed investment does allow Calyx Ice Rider to outspeed Pokemon like Adamant Urshifu, as well as Modest Landorus Incarnate, after a Tailwind is set up from the Yvesangelist. And this Pokemon, of course, absolutely absurd. Glacial Lance is able to do a ton of damage while it's bulky with the Trick Room, and the Seed Bomb with that Terra Grass allows it to really dish out a ton of damage into water types and opposing Terra Waters that are able to resist the Kyogre attacks. The main wall breaker of this team features Choice Specs Kyogre with the Drizzle ability to summon the rain with the Water Terra type with Water Spout, Origin Pulse, Terra Blast, and Thunder. Yeah, the idea of the team is just to blow through things with a Terra Water Choice Specs boosted attack in the rain. It's able to do a ton of damage. Your main attacks are going to be Water Spout and Origin Pulse. If you need a single target attack, it's going to be that Terra Blast option, and that is just able to break through the wide guard mons. But yes, the Terra Blast instead of Hydro Pump, just because it's more accurate and it's still able to blow through a ton of things. It is only downside, of course, Terra Blast is useless if you don't have the Terra access to Kyogre, but if you do, it's still able to do a ton of damage. And that Thunder is able to hit Pokemon that are able to go for the Terra Water typing, as well as opposing water types, and especially opposing Kyogre, just to dish out a ton of damage. Across the board, this Kyogre does have a lot of special attack, and I mean a lot of special attack, because it is max modest, because you really just want to dish out a ton of damage through the resist. Water Spouts, it's not easy to switch into with the Choice Specs, the Rain, and the Terra Water typing. You have a good amount of bulk. This allows Kyogre to still be able to get a good amount of HP recovery from Rillaboom with a number that is a +1, that is a divisible by 16, because that is usually how grassy terrain, you get an extra HP recovery for every number you are divisible by 16, and +1 because of Super Fang and Ruination for some specific calcs. After taking that hit, 51% versus 50% can be a factor. And then having a good amount of speed, this just allows Kyogre to outspeed a lot of the more fast Rillabooms out there, and just Pokemon in general, and especially with that Tailwind, outspeed like some pretty fast Choice Scarf mons. Next Pokemon we have is the Booster Energy Yvesangelist with the Quark Drive that gives it a speed booster when electric terrain or that booster energy is consumed, with the Fire Terra type that is able to help out resist the Glacial Lance better into the Sun matchup in general, and just be able to resist the fire types as well as the ice types that can do a ton of damage to Yvesangelist, as well as the super effective fairy mods, especially like Chi-Yu and Fluttermane combinations in Sun can be a bit devastating. So Yvesangelist being able to resist that and still get the consistent Tailwind off. You have the Snarl that's able to help out reduce the damage from the special attackers like Rhydon, able to help out against Calyx Shadow Rider and threaten it. So it can be very nice with that Hurricane that's accurate in rain and does a ton of damage with the same type of attack boost from the Yvesangelist, as well as the decent special attack stat that it does have, a 122. Tailwind, of course, for speed controlled, it can just help out the rest of the team And then Taunt is a way to shut down opposing Wide Guard, as well as stuff like opposing Trick Room, some Spores and Rage Powder stuff from Amoonguss, and more. Overall, the Yvesangelist is meant to be really bulky. It's more of a support Pokemon, sticking around on the field to go for Tailwinds, the Snarls, the Hurricanes for the constant chip damage, with max HP, a good amount of special defense, and then the speed just allows it to outspeed quite a few Pokemon after that booster energy specifically, especially a lot of those choice scarf Pokemon like Urshifu, Chi-Yu, and more. Next Pokemon we have, another wall breaker, going to be the Rapid Strike Urshifu with the Choice Band, the Unseen Fist ability, and the Terra Grass typing with Surging Strikes, Close Combat, Aqua Jet, and U-Turn. It's pretty standard. Choice Band Urshifu with Rain might be a bit overkill with the Surging Strikes just in Rain with that Choice Band boost. Absolutely incredible. But of course, having Choice Band close combat access against Terrapagos is really nice. The Terra Grass type is to help out against Rillaboom and Raging Bolt. They're super effective Grassy Glide and the Thunderclaps, as well as being able to ignore Amoonguss, which is pretty nice. So Urshifu can just bring down the pain into other Pokemon around the Amoonguss. It's just able to do a ton of damage across the board. Pretty standard otherwise. It's not really running much speed because you do have a way that can take advantage with the Tailwind from the Yvesangelist, but also you do have the Trick Room from the Calyx Ice Rider, so you don't need to invest too much speed because this Pokemon will still be able to outspeed a lot under that Tailwind or that Trick Room, and running a lot of bulk, actually running a good amount of attack still to dish out as much damage as possible with a 196 Adamant Nature to give it an extra stat point, alongside some good amount of HP, 124. It is a number divisible by 16 minus 1, which is usually for like burn damage as well as like other weather damage. Usually it would mainly be sand, so it's interesting not to go with a number divisible by 16 because grassy terrain is probably a bit more common, but an interesting choice. And then running a good amount of special defense just so this Urshifu can still be able to tank some special hits. For instance, with the Terra Grass just helps out be able to take the Volt Switch and Electro Drift better from a Rhydon. Be able to take on opposing Kyogre, live one hit decently comfortably, and just be able to dish out a ton of damage. Astral Barrage from Calyx Shadow Rider, the Psychic from like a Life Orb Shadow Rider as well after that Terra Grass. So it's just able to tank attacks and then fire back, usually for a knockout. Next Pokemon we have is the Assault Vest Rhyperior, which gives a 1.5x boost to its special defense with the Lightning Rod ability to summon the electric moves from the partner and only affect the Rhyperior with the Terra Water type with high horsepower, rock slide, crunch, and counter. Now, we normally see Rhydon actually do better than Rhyperior, mainly because even though Rhydon does have a bit worse defenses overall and a bit lower HP, the fact that it is able to significantly boost it thanks to its Violite and Run Protect, because if you're running Assault Vest on Rhyperior, obviously it doesn't have the best special defense, so you kind of need the Assault Vest, so it's actually able to tank on Pokemon like Rhydon, compared to Rhydon that's able to Run Protect and the Violite, which is a great combo because you could scout for like a Choice Specs Rhydon, like what's locking into, for instance, which can be very valuable. But Rhyperior, of course, does have the benefit of having a really good attack stat, good defense, good base HP, and even though special defense isn't the best, it's still able to do a ton of work. So very great Pokemon that can actually sweep under Trick Room if given the right conditions. And of course, that Lightning Rod, so valuable because of the fact that you are running 3 Pokemon that are weak to electric moves in the Urshifu, the Yvesangelist, and the Kyogre. Just being able to draw away and, you know, just scare your opponent from clicking the electric type move that Rhydon absolutely loves to click. Stuff like Raging Bolt that can affect the Kyogre and the Yvesangelist as well. Just being able to draw away those electric type moves. The special attack boost doesn't matter on Rhyperior. And even with the Terra Water type, the fact that you're just immune to the electric type moves just gives Rhyperior a great defensive typing in its Terra Water type, alongside the immunity to electric type moves. So it's actually pretty strong. It has a really good amount of damage that it can fire off with its coverage with high horsepower and rock slide. Crunch is able to help out against the Calyx Shadow Riders and the Lunalas, and counter can be a funny move in some situations, like taking a raw body press from a Zamazenta, for instance, and then fire back with counter, and lead to some funny factors, as well as like close combat from opposing Urshifu. If you go for that Terra Water, it can do quite a few things. So this Rhyperior, of course, is just mainly EV'd to tank special hits because you have max special defense and 100 HP. This allows the Rhyperior just to be able to tank on those special attacks really well while still being able to do a ton of damage because you're running a Brave Nature that is able to increase its physical attack, and with the extra stat point with 156 investment, just allows the Rhyperior to do a ton of damage. Just running no speed, but it is just able to outspeed, for instance, Iron Hands, Ursaluna, and Calyx Ice Rider under the Trick Room, so it can dish out and threaten a bit of heavy damage. Final Pokemon we have is going to be the Rocky Helmet Amoonguss with the Regenerator that allows you to get some recovery if you do switch out with the Terra Dark type with Spore, Rage Powder, Pollen Pup, Protect. Pretty standard Amoonguss. It's just able to tank attacks extremely well. You run a good amount of physical defense on this Amoonguss because of the fact that it's EV to survive a Glacial Lance from a Calyx Ice Rider, and that's pretty much what you want. So you can just go for the Spores pretty consistently. You don't have Intimidate, so the team is a bit weaker on the physical defensive side. So you want the Amoonguss just to be able to tank those hits. And across the board, it does really help out with the Pollen Pup that's just able to heal the Kyogre, the Calyx Ice Rider, redirect the really strong attacks from those Pokemon as well. So you can set up Trick Room just to shout a ton of damage across the board. It's an Amoonguss. It pretty much does what it wants to do. The Rocky Helmet is just able to get chip damage and punish the Urshifus that go for a Surging Strike and Rain against you, because Amoonguss will still be able to tank the attack decently well. And the Terra Dark type is to help out against Calyx Shadow Rider, Lunala, Moongeist Beam, but also the fact that it is able to help out against another combo, which is Psy Spam, which can be a little bit annoying because you only have one Dark type in Yvesangelist and no terrain control, but also the fact it also helps out against prankster moves like Taunt from Tornadus as well as Encore from Whimsicott. So how to use the team across the board, you have two different main modes, but a lot of them do focus on dishing out a ton of damage in rain, especially from the Choice Specs Kyogre. You do have the Tailwind on the Yvesangelist, allowing for a faster mode with Kyogre Yvesangelist just able to do a ton of damage. The Yvesangelist is able to disrupt with the Taunt to stop any wide guards or protects, and you are just really able to punish hard with the Kyogre and then clean up in the end game, usually with like Urshifu and the Calyx Ice Rider. You do have a trigger mode that you can go for with Calyx Ice Rider and just do a ton of damage utilizing the Kyogre, the Urshifu, the Rhyperior under the Trick Room. The Amoonguss is able to help support and draw away the very powerful attacks from the partners while healing up the weakened Pokemon, so Kyogre can fire up more powerful water spouts while taking the attacks because of its good natural bulk. So across the board, those are your probably two main modes that you go for with this team. The Rhyperior is pretty important for drawing away the Rhydon attacks and making it scared to click the electric type move, so you can actually punish it with like the Calyx Ice Rider Glacial Lance, for example. And it's overall able to do quite a bit at just drawing away electric moves from those Pokemon like Iron Hands, the Rhydon, and the Raging Bolt. If you would like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. And let me know what you think about the Rhydon versus Rhyperior. Which one would you use if you had to choose one to use in Regulation I? And I think for me, it would probably be Rhydon because I think the Protect is pretty valuable and the loss of bulk isn't too necessary. However, Rhyperior does have a really cool niche with a really high attack stat, able to dish out a ton of damage, and maybe we'll click counter with this one, who knows. But let me know in the comments down below, and we're going to be trying to use Rhyperior for every single game, and hopefully it will work out. Hopefully it will work out. All right, we have the Rhydon Calyx Ice Rider, the Scraggy with Iron Hands, Iron Treads, and the Farigiraf. All right, so we will be dealing with the Rhydon stuff, and it's going to be a bit of a weird one because Draco Meteor is just such a hard move to switch into for this team. It really is. I don't know if I bring Amoonguss. Probably not, actually, now that I think about it. I want a redirection, but it's like with a Draco Meteor, but it's just so tough here. I think I'm just going to go with... Well, Kyogre is really tough for them. Kyogre is a really tough mon for them. I think I just got to think about this really carefully. I don't think Yvesangelist plus Kyogre is a bad pick. I bring Amoonguss. I don't think I need Amoonguss. I think I would rather have Rhyperior and Cali Ice and see how it goes. Because I think a lot of this game is just me positioning a Kyogre. If I position a Kyogre well, I win the game because it's Terra Fire on the Calyx Ice Rider unless they change it. If I set up my Kyogre to click Terra Water Water Spout, I just blow through this team. The only thing is that's going to be complicated is like the early turns and I guess the fake out pivotal turns, which is going to be the question mark. We're going to see Rhydon Iron Hands. Okay. Versus Kyogre Jugulis. So I'm going to go Rhyperior for one slot. For the Kyogre slot. I kind of wish I led Cali Ice instead, but I was worried if they led Cali Ice here. We're just gonna click Tailwind. Did I just click Snarl? Go Cali Ice, or do I go Rhyperior? Like, do I want to go hard into Rhyperior here? That's the question. I think the best play is to click Snarl plus go into Rhyperior. I don't think that's a bad option. No, actually, no. Snarl doesn't help me. Actually, no, it does. Is it a Draco Meteor wall charge? This works out for me. Yeah, I go Rhyperior. They should like Draco Meteor. I don't think they dazzle, but I think they should Draco Meteor. I guess Snarl off, no fake out. Okay, that helps. They actually electro drifted. That's insane to me. Okay. Did they wall charge too? Please tell me you wall charged. Okay, they low kick. Wow, Rhyperior actually just went down to that. That is kind of a shame, actually. Okay. This is acceptable still, though. Because I can go out into Cali Ice and I can go for Glacial Lance and a Tailwind, I suppose. Yeah, no, I don't. I wouldn't hate that. This is going to be tough if it's Scraggy back. I do think we just Tailwind Glacial. Yeah. I think a lot of this is going to come down to who's in the back as well. So I guess if I switched out the Joulus into the Rhyperior, it would have worked out really well. And I could have. I definitely could have. Because if I just went for Water Spout plus swap to Rhyperior, I was actually in a pretty decent spot. Although low kick would have done a lot of damage and I probably don't knock out hands, even if I Terra Water. But I didn't expect them to ever click Electro Drift there. Maybe they were scared of like a Terra Fairy. But I think the problem with this build is I don't have the best answers into it. Okay, we're gonna see Scraggy come in. I mean, that's taking a Glacial Lance and that's your current fake out mon taking a lot. So I think this is okay. Yeah, I don't hate this because if you give me both fake out mons, then Water Spout is putting on a lot of pressure against you. But we'll see. Get a Glacial off. I mean, that's good damage. And if hands goes for wall charge, they take a bunch of recoil. Okay. Perfect. So we go Kyogre, and now it's a fake out game. They should know. So I'm going to go for Water Spout. I don't need to Terra here. I'm pretty sure I knock out hands even if they Terra. I think I Seed Bomb the Iron Hands because I think they're going to fake out the Kyogre and go for a wild, and they go for a Terra Water Wall Charge into the Kyogre. But that's only if they know that I'm specs. They don't know my item technically, so could be a bit scary here. There's also more Rhydon that's still really tricky to deal with. Yeah, I mean, no matter what, this is a tough position to navigate. But I mean, right now it's not looking too bad because I haven't taken much damage on Cali Ice. There's a chance that I could just get my Glacial off. So hey, there's something that could happen here. We do see the Terra, so this is probably Terra Water. This is really good for me if I catch this. Beautiful. Show me fake out a Kyogre because Water Spout's a menace threatening here. Water Spout with KO if they fake out my Cali Ice. Yep. Beautiful. Beautiful. Goodbye, Iron Hands. Awesome. Okay. Endgame's still a little bit tricky, but I think we're in a pretty good... Actually, no. Would I lose in this position? I think I do. I have to make a call because Rhydon's coming in again. If they go Cali Ice, they just instant lose. So this is always... Why would he go Cali Ice in this position? What? No, I think they instant lose because of this. Because they don't have a switch into Water Spout plus Glacial. How fast was the Miraidon on the team? I think the Miraidon was actually pretty okay. I have a boost. Okay, no, I know what the play is. The play is to always click Terra Water Water Spout because it blows up this combo. And then we go for Trick Room. Yes, this is the play. The reason that this is the play, because if the Cali Ice stays in, like if both of these Pokemon stay in, they get blown up by the Terra Water Water Spout, and then I get Trick Room up. And because I get Trick Room up and the Scraggy can't protect, I always get the KO on Scraggy. That means Miraidon's forced in. And then because Miraidon can't Terra, because the Iron Hands Terra, I go for Glacial Lance to seal the game. Like, they protect Cali Ice, but the protect on Cali Ice is not going to save them in this endgame because I get the Water Spout off and I get the Trick Room. If they swapped out the Scraggy into Miraidon, the Miraidon took a bunch of damage, then I could go for Glacial Water Spout still, and they don't have enough pressure. I guess if they get a double protect with Cali, but even with the double protect with Cali, it's looking really rough to win, I think. So I think I had this like a pretty much a guaranteed seal here, because this Trick Room just allows my Cali Ice to outspeed the Miraidon, and because I have the +1 from knockout the Iron Hands, I guarantee KO this bulky Ice Rider or bulky Miraidon that they have on their field, and Glacial Lance will finish it up with Water Spout because they can't do enough damage to my Kyogre. So unless they change the team to have like Imprison Cali Ice on it, I should win instantly. So we go for Glacial Lance, we go for Water Spout, and that should seal the game. Ooh, okay. Bit of a puzzle. Like Rhyperior, all it did was absorb one Electro Drift and then it just went down. But you know what? Kyogre got you. Kyogre is the friend here. We get a Glacial Lance, we KO the Miraidon, pick up the knockout, exactly what we expected. And then this Water Spout's going to blow up the Cali Ice. So, whew, okay. Unfortunate for Rhyperior, but that's sometimes how it's got to go. Sometimes we get the Water Spout off into the Cali Ice. And it's blown up. Beautiful. Yeah. So I think the big part was having the Seed Bomb Cali Ice and reading the Iron Hands Terra, because that ended up working out immensely. And it did make a lot of sense to play, right? Because Seed Bomb's not a super common move on Cali Ice. If they gets like a standard high horsepower Cali Ice, or if it's Elite Cali Ice, they like get that play right and then they win the game, right? Because assuming that the Kyogre doesn't have Protect or Covert Cloak or something crazy, then they get the KO into Kyogre. But because of the fact that I did go for the Seed Bomb play, it just ended up working out immensely. Rhydon, Lunala, Ursaluna, Fluttermane, Incineroar, and the Raging Bolt. It's gonna be a tough one. I think it's playable, but man, this is gonna be a tricky one. All right, I do want Rhyperior in this game. It is good with Terra Water against a lot of the team that they have. Do I bring Jugulus is the question. Because I do threaten Snarl and Hurricane, which is actually pretty good against my opponent. Like, I had to bring Kyogre for sure. Kyogre is definitely being brought. I think Rhyperior is going to get brought. So I'm thinking it's like Calyrex Ice Rider plus Calyrex Ice Rider plus Rhyperior isn't a terrible lead. I don't hate it with Amoonguss and Kyogre because I like the idea of Pollen Puff in general against this team. Jugulus could be brought. Jugulus would be kind of nice here. Do I expect it to be Meteor Beam under Lunala? I'm not sure. I think it would probably have Meteor Beam. I think it's probably going to be the Terra Water Lunala. Snarl is just so nice against this team. And the Hurricane threat, but the thing is, Fluttermane is actually kind of threatening to my team in general. If they lead Fluttermane, I just don't think that Jugulus is ever worth it. Who would I expect them to bring though? Lunala, Rhydon for sure, Raging Bolt most likely, and then Lastmon, then Incineroar, because they kind of need a switch into Glacial, right? I think those would be the four, but we'll see. Probably Incineroar lead, Incineroar Lunala. Okay, that works. Against Calyrex Ice Rider plus the Rhyperior. I mean, this could be like a lot of damage coming out our way. I don't exactly have a great switch. That's a problem. If they have Flare Blitz on the instant, it's very likely they have Flare Blitz on the instant. This is going to be a problem. I think we just protect and we go for a high horsepower. I think I need the damage on instant. Yeah. I just need damage on instant at the moment. I can heal my team, so it's okay. They fake out the Kali Ice, which is really good. Okay, what did the Lunala click? Moongeist Beam, Meteor Beam? Moongeist Beam in the Rhyperior. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Should tank this fine. Yeah, I tank it pretty well, actually. All right. Sweet, I get a high horsepower off into Instant. That's good damage into Instant. Is Rocky Helmet, though. All right. So it should be Raging Bolt Rhydon most likely in the back. The question is, can they knock out my Kali Ice? I think my best play is just to go on Moongus if they Flare Blitz or something. And we go for Rock Slide. So I can break Shadow Shell and Lunala, and if they take the Rocky Helmet damage with Instant, they go down to Rock Slide, I'm pretty sure. I don't think they double up the Rhyperior. I think they always double up the Kali Ice. It's just protected and is a pretty safe target into. Like they have Flare Blitz, Moongeist Beam. They have Meteor Beam if they want. And they do Moongeist Beam that slot, which makes a ton of sense. Man, that just does so much. They do knockoff. Oh, it's knockoff. It's not Flare Blitz. Okay, that would have been good to know. I do get a Rock Slide off, which does land on both. Okay, so I do get rid of Instant, which is fantastic. So Instant goes down. Okay, it's leftovers on the Lunala. Okay. We're probably going to have to sack because there's Rhydon coming in. Yep. This is acceptable, though. This is acceptable. I'm trying to think of what gives me the best odds here. So they probably click a fighting move into Rhyperior. Actually, no, it's probably the Rage Powder from Moongus, right? I think it's Rage Powder from Moongus and click Crunch into Lunala because I need the damage into Lunala heavily. Yeah. They're not going to tear the Lunala in this position because they probably didn't expect Crunch at this point. They get the Rage Powder off. They are going to go for an attack with Rhydon. They're going to go for Flame Charge, which is an interesting play, but that works out pretty well for me. Okay. Are they Life Orb? Yeah, they're Life Orb. Okay, so that's good to confirm. We see the Moongeist Beam. We should be fine. Yeah, we tank it. We get the Crunch off. Good damage to Lunala. All right. So we go Calyrex Ice Rider, and now we play a mind game of, okay, what are they going to click? Are they going to double up into Kali Ice on the Protect because I was willing to protect turn 1? Or are they going to spread the attacks? If they spread the attacks, I get Trick Room up and I'm in a good position. But if I read them to double the Kali, the best play is just to protect the Kali and go for like a high horsepower or something. So very rough turn coming up, but I'm gonna go for Trick Room and I'm gonna try to get Kyogre in. So let's see how this is gonna go, because this is gonna be super rough. Also, they Flame Charge instead of fighting move. Well, I guess it's close combat. You don't want to risk something crazy. But the thing is, if I went Kyogre, they were in a really rough spot, I felt like. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just going to bring Kyogre now and pray that Kalias lives the Moongeist Beam here. I think we go down to Flare Blitz plus Moongeist Beam, but we'll see. Like, I don't really have an option. Like, this Terra is not helping me either, so we'll see. I needed a neutral Terra here for the Flare Blitz, but we will Terra Grass here. They don't have the Orichalcum Pulse boost for their attack, at least. And they didn't Terra Fire, so I actually think Kali Ice Guarantee lives here, if I'm not mistaken. Close combat. Okay, they don't have the boost, and I should live Moongeist Beam, I think. Yes. Okay. So that works out. If they had Terra Fired, this game would have been completely different, but this works out. All right, perfect. If I click Glacial, I probably just won. If I click Glacial, you could have just won. All right. This is wide guard coming out though. I don't really have a counterplay to wide guard here, do I? They don't know my set, but they probably protect a scout, right? I think we glacial swap to Rhyperior. Oh, this is just such a weird spot. I think you always wide guard here and go for Terrifier, but I'm not 100% certain. I actually think I should have attacked with Kyra. I think attacking with Kyra was correct. They do wide guard, so I should have protect Thunder, I think. I think protect Thunder would have put me in a great spot. Okay. I might still be in an okay position depending on what the Rhydon do, but I think if they attack my Kyogre slot, I'm still losing. Okay, they flare blitzed my Cali Ice, which... Oh man, this is a really interesting endgame. This is a really interesting endgame. I think... This is where having Hydro Pump would be so nice. This is where Hydro Pump would be so nice. Because I could have just went for Hydro Pump into Rhydon and probably went for Glacial and been fine. Or a Hydro Pump double up the Lunala, which would have worked. Yeah, now I Origin Pulse and I think I high horsepower the Rhydon slot. They're gonna retreat Rhydon. This might be Raging Bolt, so it might be taking a lot of damage here. That is Raging Bolt coming in. Okay. Wait, that's actually kind of good. They tear the Lunala. The question is, do you click Wide Guard? Because if you click Wide Guard here, I might get the KO on Raging Bolt and Lunala this turn, and that might just allow me to win. But I think it depends on who's faster between Kyogre and Lunala. Okay, wait, hold on. I get the high horsepower off. Perfect, because I expected Wide Guard there. And Kyogre is faster, so I get the Origin Pulse off and KO the Lunala. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe that worked out. Because I think I made a massive mistake by switching out my Kyogre that previous turn. I think I should have went for the Thunder double up. Or I should have went for Thunder Protect with Cali Ice. Because it was really likely there. Then I could switch out Rhyperior and went for a Glacial or a Seed Bomb. But oh my goodness, that worked out. I mean, the game's not over. But... because they have double protect option. And I am locked into Origin Pulse and Sun. They can't Terra though. But I mean, Terra would be massively bad for them. So yeah, let's see. They go for the protect with Rhydon. I mean, the thing is, I'm pretty sure Life Orb Close Combat KOs Kyogre. So I do need to get these attacks off. I knew that crunching the Lunala was correct because of the fact that it was very likely that you tear it. I'm surprised they didn't Terra and just try to Wide Guard, but they probably expected the single target move. Please hit the high horsepower, and I think we're in good shape. Okay. And we land the Origin Ball, so that guarantees it, because even if it doesn't KO, the Rhydon would knock itself down to 1 hit of Life Orb. Okay. Oh, it's stressful playing this team. Sometimes it really is, but we were able to... I don't know. I think it was just I kind of called him out of not going for the Wide Guard that one turn and just locking Origin Balls. I was kind of forced to go for it, but like they kind of, I think, over expected something, or they were really thinking I had Hydro Pump. If I had Hydro Pump, I would have just Hydro Pumped the Rhydon. Like, that's why. Like, Terra Blast, it's cool if you have the access to Terra, but sometimes you need those single target moves just through, like, without Terra when you have already expended it, because getting Trick Room, I needed to use my Terra. And yeah, the fact that they didn't Terrify Flare Blitz worked out. The fact that I was able to get the Origin Pulse double knockout there was massive. They might have tried to reverse Trick Room. I'm not exactly 100% certain, but oh, like, that was stressful, man. Rhydon, Calyx Ice Rider, Grimmsnarl, the Landorus incarnate form, Kyogre, and, or not Kyogre, Urshifu, and Incineroar. Okay. I feel pretty good about this matchup because I do have Rhyperior, which is really, really good here. And yeah, like Rhyperior is fantastic. I just got to play around the Urshifu, which is probably going to be choice band on this team because that's this team's Terapagos answer. So how do I want to perform against this? I do want to bring Amoonguss to help against the Urshifu. I got to watch out for the Calyx Ice Rider. Do I bring my own Urshifu? Probably not. Do I need Jugulus? No. I think the combo is Calyx Ice Rider. I feel like I should always have Amoonguss in the back. Draco Meteor is going to be super tough to switch in though. Maybe it's Calyx Ice Rider and just straight up Rhyperior. I think it's okay. Amoonguss in the back and Kyogre. I do like that actually. I thought about bringing my own Urshifu for Surging Strikes so it's stronger against the Cali Ice. I don't think it's really necessary. I thought about like potential lines here with a Kyogre lead, but everything just leads to me getting Draco, so I think it's just never worth it. We're gonna see the Calyx Ice Rider plus Rhydon lead. Okay, this actually works out really well for me as I lead Rhyperior and the Calyx Ice. Okay. I mean, Draco Meteor is not a fun thing to switch into. That's the problem. How much would I expect Glacial to do? I feel like you always Draco Meteor to Calyx Ice Rider, which is the problem. I think I just protect Ice Rider, and I think I just go for the Terra, and I go for a high horsepower into the Rhydon. I think that's correct. Yeah. I don't think they Draco Meteor my Rhyperior just because of the fact that they have more threats with the Calyx Ice Rider, but we're going to see the switch out from Rhydon, which makes sense. They actually bring out the Urshifu, which is fine. Okay. So I'm okay with getting a pretty powerful high horsepower off into the Calyx Ice Rider and then threatening Rock Slide plus Trick Room the next turn. Seems really solid here. We will Terra Water because we do protect Ice Rider. They didn't want to Draco Meteor or commit Terra and get the play wrong. They go for Leech Seed immediately in my Cali Ice, so I don't take any damage, which is actually kind of cool. Okay. So I get a free high horsepower off an Urshifu that puts in Seed Bomb range, which is cool. Yep. Maybe a Rock Slide puts in Glacial Lance range, which would be really nice. Are you going to Glacial Lance in this position? You might not. I might be able to get a Amoonguss in. And Amoonguss is meant to sponge up the damage. So you know what? I'm going to go Amoonguss, and I'm just going to click Rock Slide. I guess if they go for a close combat into Rhyperior, that would kind of stink. But otherwise, like, I don't really see a problem with this play. Because if they go for a target into my Cali Ice with, like, a big Surging Strikes, like, this still works out in my favor. If they U-turn, that works out. It's only if they close combat to Rhyperior gets a little bit scary, but I think Rhyperior will be able to take a close combat with ease because of its high physical defense. I'm just worried about how the future turns would play out, but I still think I'd be in an okay position. We bring out the Amoonguss. They do close combat, but they targeted down my Cali Ice slot, so that's a fantastic decision for me. Okay. I don't think you Glacial. I still think you Leech Seed, but we'll see. No, they did Glacial. Okay. All right, that's a bit scary because they do knock out my Amoonguss. And they crit my Rhyperior, so that's unfortunate. So I do get a Rock Slide off. It does really good damage to the Cali Ice. Wow, that was more than I thought. Okay, I crit the Cali. That's what I was about to say. That did way too much. I don't think close combat Glacial knocks out Cali Ice, if I'm not mistaken. I get a Trick Room up, and then it depends on like what their Cali Ice clicks. I'm probably gonna click Glacial again. I think I could click Counter in this position because they're not gonna Leech Seed, I'm pretty sure. So I'm gonna Trick Room attempt, and I'm gonna go for Counter. If we get the Counter off, we're in a great spot, I think. But I guess it depends on who Counter targets. I'm pretty sure it targets the Mon that goes for the second hit. or the last hit before the counter. So I hope that the counter goes off into Cali Ice if they close combat Glacial Lance my Rhyperior, which might knock out the Rhyperior, but that's fine. Because then I should be able to get... Because then if they do that, because my Cali Ice is healthy, pretty sure that I clean up the game with like Glacial Lance Origin Pulse. But we'll see. Oh, they protect the Cali. Okay, this works. And they close combat my Rhyperior. Okay. Oh, it lived. It lived, which is insane. And wait, my Rhyperior is faster than the Cali Ice, actually. Goodbye, Urshifu. Also, that close combat actually did a bit more damage than I expected, but we do get the Trick Room up, and now we can threaten high horsepower Glacial, I think, to knock out the Cali Ice to win the game. That's tough. I actually don't think that would KO. So they reverse Trick Room, it's annoying, but it depends on who they bring out. They bring out Grimmsnarl, okay. To go for Reflect, I suppose? That's acceptable. We're gonna go for a Glacial Lance. Actually, no, I could go for Seed Bomb plus a Rock Slide here. Yeah, that also works. Yeah, that also works. Because they reflect, go for Glacial, or they reflect, go for Reverse Trick Room, and I still get a bunch of damage into the Cali Ice regardless. I also can flinch the Cali Ice, and if I flinch the Cali Ice, I'm in a good spot, so I don't really need the damage in Grimmsnarl because it's only really doing Spirit Break damage unless they change the set to Foul Play, so I think this works out. Yeah, they go for Reflect, that makes sense. We go for Rock Slide. We connect both, which is fantastic. We get the damage off. Ooh, Seed Bomb probably doesn't KO. Yeah, it doesn't, but we still get good damage. They do reverse Trick Room. Okay. I mean, I still think that this is very acceptable. Because their Cali Ice just became a lot weaker. I'm trying to think of, do they go for Glacial or not this turn? I think my best play is a Seed Bomb. Trying to think of, do I reverse Trick Room here or not? Or do I go for Trick Room? I think I set up Trick Room, and I think the play is to go Kyogre here. Yeah, I think this is okay. Because the two plays that I see them most likely going for involve Spirit Break plus Reverse Trick Room, or they go for a Glacial Lance. I think I cover both of these by going Kyogre. A Thunder Wave my Cali Ice. What? Why? As a Glacial, sure. I can't move because I'm paralyzed, but that actually is fine here because Origin Pulse knocks out the Cali Ice through Light Screen, I'm pretty sure. And I can go for Trick Room with Cali Ice. Also, wait, why did they Thunder Wave? I had Lightning Rod on deck. Yeah, I had Lightning Rod on deck. Okay, we're gonna go for Trick Room. We're gonna go for Origin Pulse. Do I have to Origin Pulse or should I just click Thunder? I think Thunder is actually correct. Yeah, let's click Thunder. They're gonna spam T-Wave. Okay. I mean, it makes sense here because I don't want to switch in Rhyperior because they probably click Glacial anyway. Yeah. So this makes sense. Let's see. We get the Thunder off. That's big. The more important one is, does the Cali get the attack? Because if the Cali doesn't get the attack, we probably lose. Okay. It's not over, but this is really good. Really good. They bring up my Rhydon. Reflect is up. I had to switch out Kyogre into Rhyperior. Or do I? I think I have to, right? Oh, actually, no, I think it depends on, do I get paralyzed with Cali? I think a lot of this game comes down to, do I get paralyzed with Cali? I think I thundered the Grim Snarl. Unlucky. If we KO, we have a chance. Wait, we do KO Grim. So no Spirit Break goes off. That's massive. What do they lock into? Breako Meteor. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, this is such a weird endgame. And I think I probably lose it because they have screens, right? I think I lose anyway. Yeah, because if I get the Glacial Alliance damage off, I just have to hit a high horsepower. Now it's like, I think I could Rock Slide, go for Flinch and the thing. But I mean, I still think, because it doesn't really, it buys me more turns, but the thing is, I don't get enough damage because Rock Slide and high horsepower doesn't KO anyway, so I might as well just go for high horsepower and have a chance to crit as well. And then I have to thunder the Rhyperior. I have to thunder, but it's gonna go to Rhyperior because of Lightning Rod. Here comes high horsepower. Crit would have been nice. Probably it's paralyzed anyway, so sure. Okay, they hit. Okay, I don't know if, I mean, we have Thunder and Electric Terrain. If Thunder can KO and Kyra can live the Draco Meteor, sure. Maybe. I mean, that's what we're going for. Thunder. Oh, we don't even two-shot. There is a miss. Okay. More of those would be nice. Rain stops, so we have less chance of hitting the Thunder. I think I should have locked into Origin Pulse. But then again, it still comes down to, does Cali Ice get paralyzed the next turn? But then again, I guess Kyra could have had more chances. Did we live? Oh. Yeah, I think I needed to lock into Origin Pulse potentially, but even then, that just gave me, that does also like have to rely on me connecting Origin Pulses and breaking through paralysis. Like, I don't know if there was like a guaranteed consistent way of breaking through. I'm not sure how the odds are realistically, whether Origin Pulse is better. Because if I Origin Pulse, I knock out Grim, which is massive because they didn't get light screen up, right? And then I get the damage into Cali, then I can go for Origin Pulse. The Glacial. Maybe it was better odds. I think I should have locked into Origin Pulse. I think Thunder. Like, I was so scared of the Cali Ice. But realistically, I think I should have went with my gun and went for Origin Pulse instead of Thunder that one turn. But then again, if I didn't get paralyzed, like, I probably won. Or was really likely to. Alright, we have Calyx, Shadow Rider, Zamazenta, Xianpao, Raging Bolt, Cornerstone Ogerpon, and Amoonguss. Alright, how do I want to approach this one? Because there is the Raging Bolt that is going to put on a lot of pressure against my Kyogre. There is also the Zamazenta and the Calyx Shadow Rider. Going to be a bit of a tough one, especially that Amoonguss. Terra-wise, I don't really need my Terra, I think, on my Rhyperior, unless it's really bad against the Raging Bolt. I think I'm just going to go with Calyx Ice Rider and Terra Grass in this matchup, which seems really good here. Now, my only problem is I don't exactly have the best answers to a Shadow Rider Calyx immediately, which is a bit of a tough mon. I do want to bring... Man, if I had to bring Rhyperior, it's a bit tough because I want to bring Yvesangelist in this matchup, I think. Because Tailwind is really good against their team. They don't really have a way to stop Tailwind. But Kyogre, does that mean I don't bring Amoonguss? Amoonguss is really good here. Amoonguss is really good here. But I think I'm going to do Yvesangelist, Kyogre, and then in the back, Calyx Ice Rider plus Rhyperior. I think this could work. We'll figure it out. I think a lot of the plan is going to come down to how aggressively can I play against like a lot of their mons. Zamazenta is always going to be tough. The Xianpao, I probably lock into Origin Pulse immediately. So we'll see how this goes. But yeah, let's figure it out here. Also, what is on the corner here? Actually, I have no idea what's on the corner here. Huh. Okay. But we're going to see the combination. Oh, my headphones. Okay. So we're going to see Cornerstone Ogerpon plus the Zamazenta lead, which I don't think is a terrible lead, but it's not super ideal, of course. They do threaten quite a bit of damage across the bat. I could just go for a Hydro Pump. I could go for a Hurricane. Tailwind isn't too bad. Plus a Water Spout. I don't know if they would Wide Guard immediately because they have some pretty safe options like a Terra Water on the Zamazenta. They could go for Ivy Cudgel. So this is going to be a bit of a tricky turn here. I want to say, yeah, this is a tricky lead. I think my best play is to Tailwind and just click Water Spout. I don't love this play, but I don't really have a Terra defensively that works out here. We are going to see the Terra come out. This is probably from the Zamazenta. Like Cornerstone Ogerpon has no business going for Terra. If you're going to go for the Terra with the Zamazenta, this is very unlikely that you go for a Wide Guard here. So that's what I'd match. I mean, I don't think you would click Wide Guard here in this scenario. I think you would just go for the body press damage. We are going to get a Tailwind off with our Yvesangelist, as we are going to get the Water Spout off. This is a full power Water Spout, which does a ton of damage across the board there, which is a really nice. Okay. Very good. Body Press going to come on a Kyogre and probably an Ivy Cudgel. That did so much damage to Kyogre, by the way. Jeez, as Yvesangelist does go down. It could have went for Origin Pulse Snarl there as well, but the Water Spout pressure is kind of nice. I think we always go out into the Calyx Ice Rider now. Gotta worry because I'm about to take a lot of damage, but I think this is acceptable. Amoonguss can't Terra anymore. Rhyperior was definitely not the play option here. I think I always go for Water Spout, and I always go for the Terra. I think this is play. I went for a Tailwind just to get my Kyogre insured for damage. I think I probably should have just went for the offensive like Snarl Origin Pulse immediately, but I really didn't want to risk a random Power Whip. I think my play here is just to always Trick Room and go for a Water Spout, and I think this is a completely okay play as Cornerstone Ogerpon is actually going to retreat. So this actually works out pretty well for me as we're going to see the Amoonguss come out, which is fine because I do have Terra Grass on my Calyx Ice Rider that is going to be immune to the spores. Now my only problem is they do have access to Pollen Puff, although a lot of these Amoonguss comps I think don't run Pollen Puff as much. They do run Sludge Bomb though, so that is going to concern me a bit. Let's see what the Zamazenta does. Does it go for Wide Guard immediately? I would expect you to go for Wide Guard, but we'll see. No, they protect. Okay, so I get some good damage on Amoonguss, which is actually pretty nice. Okay. As a Water Spout is going to get some chip damage into Amoonguss. This is probably going to be a Wide Guard the next turn. That means I could probably go for a Seed Bomb into the... I could go for a Seed Bomb into the Zamazenta the next turn. Hopefully KO it. Do I Water Spout still is the question. I think I definitely Seed Bomb the Zamazenta for sure. And I think we do go for the Water Spout damage because I think Rhyperior healthy is more important than Kyogre at this point because Kyogre is not going to get like a sweep in the end. We already got the damage off in the Cornerstone, and it's probably the Shadow Rider in the back with Focus Sash unless they brought the Raging Bolt, which is fine too because I have Calyx Ice Rider. Plus I do have my Rhyperior, so we're going to go for Seed Bomb plus Water Spout. It should be Wide Guard coming out from the Zamazenta and Amoonguss. It's going to do whatever it wants to do. I don't know if it's going to click a Spore into Kyogre, if it goes for a Sludge Bomb immediately. But we are going to see the Wide Guard. It just makes so much sense here, right? Because it does prevent the Amoonguss from getting affected by that Glacial Lance. Spore does come out into Kyogre, but I don't really need Kyogre at this point. Like, Kyogre is just here just to threaten, like, any switches. And we do get the Seed Bomb off into the Zamazenta. And I hope this picks up the knockout with the Terra Grass. Barely missing the knockout, but not bad. Okay. Do they have Pollen Puff is going to be a big question here. And I mean a really big question. I would absolutely love to get the KO into Zamazenta here. I don't know if they would swap here. It could Rage Powder, but I don't know if the Rage Powder really accomplishes anything. Well, no, Rage Powder doesn't make sense because of the fact that I am a grass type, so I am immune to the Rage Powder. Do I want to Seed Bomb or do I want to go for Glacial? I think it really just depends. I think I do want to attempt to get a Glacial off in Water Spout, but we'll see. Oh, this is perfect. Okay, so they went for the Pollen Puff, but this is super ideal because they didn't go for Wide Guard. I'm kind of surprised they didn't go for Wide Guard, but this works out because I get the knockout into Amoonguss. I think they hard read me to go for the Seed Bomb, and that works out amazingly for me because I get the chip damage into Zamazenta. I get the knockout to Amoonguss, but more importantly, I do get the +1, so now I should be able to KO Zamazenta with the next hit, which is really nice. They go for the KO on a Kyogre, and because I eliminate the Amoonguss, now I have a free swap into my threat being the Rhyperior. So this is actually pretty good. This is really good. Although I guess I still have to fear about the upcoming turns. I mean, I think overall, like the Calyx is looking really dangerous for them at this point. Like Calyx is looking really strong. We're going to see the Cornerstone Ogre Pawn. Makes sense. Does that have Horn Leech? Because that's going to be a good question. Do we bring out the Rhyperior? There's 2 turns of Trick Room, 1 turn of Rain. So this is super ideal. If I'm not mistaken, my Calyx is faster than my Rhyperior, exactly. So we can go for a Seed Bomb into the Zamazenta, and we can go for a Crunch into the Cornerstone Ogre Pawn. And I think that's always the play. You go for Spiky Shield. This might be Spiky Shield Protect, which is cool. I did take a little bit of damage, which might not be the best idea here, but I really just didn't want them to go for like a Rock Slide High Horsepower miss or something crazy, as we do attempt to go for the Crunch into the Cornerstone, and we are going to go for a Seed Bomb. Are they going to swap out? I gotta think about this a little bit carefully. I think the play here is just to always Seed Bomb the Calyx, or Seed Bomb the Zamazenta. I think Seed Bomb should get the knockout because we get the +1, and then I go for the Crunch and the Cornerstone again. And I think that's always the play, because I was like debating about, do they switch out to Zamazenta and do I cover for it with Glacial? The Cornerstone Ogre Pawn, if it's the Calyx in the back, it's covered by the Crunch, so that works out anyway. So I'm fine if they switch out that slot. And if they switch out to Zamazenta, that means they don't have the defense boost, which means Body Press won't knock me out with a double up, I think, with the Astral Barrage. So I'd only have to really worry about like Encore. But we are going to see the Zamazenta retreat. So I could have doubled that slot with like Rock Slide if I really want to play aggressive. But I still think this is pretty acceptable. I do see the Shadow Rider Calyx coming in, and we are going to be able to go for a Seed Bomb for some very nice damage. They go for the Follow Me, so I am going to be able to get the KO into the Cornerstone Ogre Pawn. I could have got a double knockout, as I said before, with the Rock Slide, because I really didn't expect him to click the Wide Guard there, because I was going for single target attacks anyway. I could have also went for Glacial, but I'd rather try to KO the Zamazenta, because that's the thing that does the most damage, I think, to my Rhyperior at the moment. So we get a huge Seed Bomb off, and wow, I don't know if that's Focus Sash or not. Maybe it just didn't activate, because, well, it didn't activate, so if they had it. But we are going to see the Zamazenta come in, and this is pretty ideal. We can go for a Trick Room, and I'm going to go for a Crunch into the Shadow Rider. I'm pretty sure Astral Body Press doesn't KO because they don't have the defense boost, and I think they need a defense boost, or they have to be like Specs or something. I'm pretty sure I get a Crunch off into the Calyx. I get the Trick Room, because if they go for like Encore Disable, I think I should be able to play around that. They go straight for the Astral Barrage, which is fine. I tank that with ease. Yep. And then Body Press into Rhyperior, which does pick up the knockout. So actually, I probably should have just Seed Bomb, because now this might come down to a mind game right here. So that's going to be a little bit tricky, but we do confirm that this Calyx isn't Life Orb, so it's probably like Focus Sash or something. It didn't get a special attack boost. I do KO the Zamazenta. I guess the question is, where's the attacks going? I mean, these hits are weak. Can I just fire off the Glacial? I don't think they ever click Wide Guard. They're definitely protecting with 1. I could protect the Scout for like protects on their side. So, you know, I'm going to go for Protect. There's no really big downside unless there's something crazy going on. Like this Calyx needs to have like Trick Room or something insane here. But I'm going to Scout for Protects. Okay, the Calyx protected. That means the Zamazenta attacked. Okay. Yeah, okay, perfect. As long as it wasn't like some Iron Defense set. Now the question is, are they going to go for a double protect, or are they going to read me the attack in the Zamazenta is the question. I think I'm going to go for a Seed Bomb into... Let me see. That it did 70 with the Astral Barrage. I mean, this might still come down to double protect, which is the fearful part. I think I could just Seed Bomb Yvesangelist, because I think they go for a double protect with Calyx. Yeah, and they got it too, so I actually get the read right. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I had a suspicion that they would go for the double protect, because like normally you would attack the slot that just protected because it's unlikely that they're able to get the protect off, but I had a suspicion that they were going to attempt to get the double, and they did get the double. So I'm really glad I targeted Zamazenta. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just playing a bit of a mind game, but I felt like this was more likely odds for me. And now I'm just going to be able to win the game because now I can just go for Seed Bomb again. And Astral Barrage is not going to be able to KO me. And even if they get like 2 more Protects to sell out the Trick Room, like I switch up to Glacial Lance the next turn, so I don't get disabled. And yeah, they just can't do anything because a crit doesn't knock me out from this range. So, ooh, super ideal. Super ideal. Was just able to, like, it didn't seem great from the lead, and it really didn't because I lost my Yvesangelist. I took so much damage with Body Press. But the fact that I was just able to get like every important like KO on the Amoonguss, gain that Glacial Lance read because they didn't wide guard, fantastic, because I was able to get rid of the Amoonguss. I still wasn't sure if it was Pollen Puff or Sludge Bomb, but because they went for a Spore immediately in a Kyogre instead of a Sludge Bomb, I had a suspicion it probably was going to be the fact that it was Pollen Puff, so I was able to call that out. But I mean, it could have been different, but if they wide guard, but if they wide guard, they're not getting the body press damage, which is kind of important there. So could have played out differently, but it super worked out. Volcarona, Grimmsnarl, Urshifu with Calyx, Ice Rider, Rillaboom, and Kyogre. Okay, Calyx, Ice Rider, Kyogre. It's probably Leech Seed stuff, I'd imagine. How do I want to play against this? This kind of... I do have Seed Bomb Cali Ice, which is decent here. Kyogre is going to be really difficult. Screens are already a bit tricky. Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a rough one. I do think we have outs, though. I will bring my Kyogre for sure. I will bring my Yvesangelist. I will bring Rhyperior because we are trying to bring Rhyperior to every game. I think it's really bad here, but you know what? We will bring it. Actually, do I lead? Should I just lead Urshifu? I think Urshifu is a better lead. I think Urshifu Kyogre actually just wall breaks through this team. Yeah, I think I'm just going to try bringing those. And then I bring Rhyperior plus Cali Ice. Terra-wise, I probably Terra to Ursh, so I'm not weak. Well, I don't know if I Terra to Ursh. It depends on what they lead. Like, they could lead, like, Rillaboom, Cali Ice, but if they lead Grimmsnarl, like, pretty much below the Grimmsnarl with either Water Spout or Surging Strikes, there's, like, no way it can really tank the attacks well enough, because it specs Water Spout plus Surging Strikes. This is the kind of thing about a passive team. I also don't think they bring their own Ursh. I think they bring, like, Grimmsnarl, Cali Ice, Rillaboom, Kyogre, I think in that fashion. I don't know what lead they would have, but I think you always bring Rillaboom. It's really good against my team in general. I think you always bring your Cali Ice to deal with my Amoonguss. I think you always bring your Kyogre to dish out enough damage. And then Grimmsnarl with screens probably just makes this strategy stick. So we'll see how this game goes. I'm not super hopeful because I think Rhyperior is not helping, but we'll figure it out. We're going to see the combination of Urshifu plus Volcarona. What is this lead? Okay. Gonna go for Thunder, I suppose. What is this lead? I want a Thunder U-turn? There's no way you Rage Powder here when I can Origin Pulse. I think it's just U-turn. In case they switch out the Ursh into like a Reela or something. We're going to see a Terra come out. Probably from Volcarona. You'd have to Terra Volcarona. Volcarona Terras into Grass. So I'm not surprised about that. I should have U-turned the Volcarona, but they're weak to Cali Ice Glacial. So I'm completely okay with that trade, realistically. They go for Surging Strikes and a Kyogre. Oh, are they going for Giga Drain KO? Does Giga Drain KO even knock out my Kyogre at this range? I don't think it does. I feel like they would have to be really invested to KO, but we'll see. All right. They did Giga Drain. Okay, they Giga Drain my Ursh, which doesn't KO. Okay, that's massive. So I did take a lot of damage. If Thunder KOs the Ursh, actually, I get the U-turn Choice Band off into the Volcarona. I don't think it knocks out because it probably has Bulk, I'd imagine. but that is a start. We do get a U-turn off. Almost KO. Okay. Rocky Helmet does KO us back. Or no, it doesn't. Okay. This has been a very interesting one so far. We get to go Cali Ice. Okay. The water spout's gonna do a ton of damage. Oh, they bring out their own Cali Ice instead. Wait, hold on. Because they brought their Cali Ice in first, that actually works out for me. What if Volcarona is faster? I don't really care about Cali Ice getting burned too much. I think I just go for attacks. I think I just fire off a Thundering Glacial. Because if they go for the Giga Drain, sure, they knock out my Kyogre, but they don't knock out my Kyogre. That's bad. I wanted you to knock out Kyogre because now Kyogre is going to go down to Glacial and give that Calyx a boost. We get a Thunder off into Cali Ice. We get good damage. Yeah, I didn't want this. I wanted them. Okay. Sure. I did not want that Cali Ice boosted. I really did not want that Cali Ice boosted. We get a Glacial off. Alright, Volcarona goes down. This is a doable game, I suppose, but it would have been so much easier if my Kyogre actually went down to Giga Drain. I wanted to go down to Giga Drain so badly, so I got the free switch. Okay, so it's leftovers Cali Ice, which is to be expected. I think we go Rhyperior, as they're going to bring out their Kyogre. Wait, what? It's Grimmsnarl back? I guess they did not believe in the Kyogre. I mean, I was shocked to see Urshifu and Volcarona, but they didn't bring the Rillaboom Kyogre. The two mons I was super worried about. We Terra Water. We go for Rock Slide. We go for Glacial. Game's not over, but I really like the spot. Because they have Foul Play if they have Foul Play on the Grimmsnarl, the matchup changes, but if I get the Rock Slide off into Cali Ice, then I should be able to Aqua Jet it with Urshifu the following turn if Cali Ice goes down this turn to a Foul Play. And then I'm in a set position. I guess if Cali Ice protects and the Grimmsnarl goes for Foul Play knockout, it could get a bit ugly, but they can't go for... It depends on the Grimmsnarl set, because they can't Thunder Wave my Urshifu, so I get Surging Strikes off, which is pretty big. Okay, they go for a Reflect. Sure. And they Leech Seed my Rhyperior, which is smart. That is smart. As we get a Glacial Lance off, this is +1 Glacial. Good damage. We're not taking the knockout, but this is still really good. We don't KO the Cali, but we're still in fantastic shape right now. Are we? I think we are. Yeah, I think we are. We go for Rock Slide Glacial. Yeah, because I was thinking of like, okay, I don't switch my Ursh, because if I switch my Ursh and they get a double knockout with Foul Play plus Glacial, I lose the game because Rhyperior can't win on its own, I think. If I hit the Rock Slides, I think I'm in good shape, because then I get in again. I get in my Ursh, they're weakened. I Surging Strikes the Cali Ice and I sealed up the win, because assuming Rhyperior hits the move into Grimmsnarl without taking enough damage, I think it's set. But can't believe that worked. Can't believe that worked. They didn't bring Kyogre, which is shocking, but I'll take it. Indeedee, Calyrex, Shadow Rider, Urshifu, Smeargle, Rhydon, and Tornadus. Alright, so we have potentially double terrain. This could be like the synchronized Indeedee fake out stuff, which I could see, but alright. I do love a Self-As Rhyperior here. A Self-As Rhyperior is actually pretty cool to help out in this team because of the fact we have that Lightning Rod, which is super sick here. What else would I really want to bring here? Because I think we definitely... Jagelist is weird because it's decent into the Shadow Rider lead, but it's like pretty bad into Rhydon lead. I think I do like Rhydon though. Rhydon Calyx Ice Rider doesn't seem like a bad lead here. I want to bring Rhyperior as... Yeah, I definitely want to bring Rhyperior in the back. The question is, do I bring Ogre or not? Because I think Terra-wise, I'm going to have to probably either Terra the Calyx or Terra the Rhyperior, right? Because of the fact that I have to fear Aqua Jet from the Urshifu. It could be a Moongus back instead, but... I guess I would probably want a Moongus more actually than Kyogre, because Kyogre does do some pretty big damage with Water Spout, but I think a Moongus just helps out with the weakness of what I have, which is mainly that Urshifu affecting the Rhyperior in a strange way. Also having recovery access would be really nice, and if I bring a Moongus, I don't have to Terra Rhyperior all the time, because I could always just switch into a Moongus and have the ability to Rage Power and Aqua Jet, right? So I think it's better to have a Moongus. I see Calyx Shadow Rider plus Smeargle. Okay. Not always a fun combination, but sure. I don't think this is that bad of a lead though. However, I guess we're going to find out. I do like the idea of going for a taunt into the Smeargle immediately, since I do have access to taunt. Then I could go for a Snarl. The only question is this some kind of nasty block Calyx or what? I could go for the Terra with my Cali Ice and go for Glacial Lands, which also would be a pretty fair play. So I think I'm actually going to go for Taunt, and I think I will commit to Terra here and go for Glacial Lance. Yeah, I don't see too many problems with this. If they go for Fake Out, I either get the Taunt off in the Smeargle, which means I get a Snarl off the next turn, or I get a Glacial Lance off, which means Snarl KOs the Smeargle the following turn, which is pretty massive. I could go for like Snarl and Trick Room, and that would be really great for me. I'd also, only one of these can have Focus Sash, which is also a pretty positive note. So I'm kind of curious if they would go for Wide Guard, because Taunt also covers for Wide Guard immediately because of the fact that then I can go for the Snarl. So no Terra is going to come out from my opponent's side. So I'm assuming this is always Fake Out into the Iron Jagelist, because you would never really leave the Calyx vulnerable here, I would say. Or they go for Wide Guard. Yeah, this makes sense here. Okay. So I do go for the Taunt into the Smeargle. I hope this isn't some random mental herb set, because that would screw me over. Nice. Okay, it's just Nasty Plot. That's fine. Okay, cool. So I'm pretty happy with that, because I can go for a Glacial Lance, and I'm willing to just click... I could go for Snarl plus Trick Room, or I could go for Snarl plus Glacial, which both aren't bad here. I do like Snarl as a play a lot, and probably Trick Room. Yeah, I think I'm just going to click Snarl to reduce the damage that the Calyx can really do to me. And I'm going to set up my Trick Room. I like this a lot, because once I get the Trick Room up, I'm in a good spot. If they protect the Calyx Shadow Rider to avoid the Snarl, and they try to bring in like Urshifu water, so they could go for like close combat, double up with the Calyx Shadow Rider, that won't be a good option. We're going to see the Smeargle retreat, which makes a lot of sense. Going to go out into the Urshifu. Yep. As I mentioned, that definitely makes a lot of sense here. And we do see the protect from the Calyx. So this is really nice, actually. This is really good for me, because I do get a Snarl off into the Urshifu to break a potential Focus Sash, which is really positive. Well, I'm going to just have to hope that Seed Bomb KOs Urshifu, I think. I do get Trick Room up. Very unfortunate, but we are going to go for Snarl. And I'm going to go for a Seed Bomb into the Urshifu. Yeah. Because I would like to get rid of Urshifu, so Rhyperior has a bit of an easier time. But also the fact that if Seed Bomb... I don't know these Calyx, because I just don't really use Seed Bomb Calyx much. But if Seed Bomb knocks out the Urshifu, I think it could have like been a really good chance if the Snarl connected, which would have been awesome for me, because the Seed Bomb into Urshifu would have then allowed me to get a +1. Then I would have been able to threaten Spore plus like Glacial Lance in following turns. I think it would have been pretty massive, but no protects. We are able to get a Seed Bomb off, and it will target down the Urshifu. And it does pick up the knockout on Urshifu. So still a pretty good knockout. And it looks like since they didn't Terra, I don't think they can knock out the Jagelist, which means I get a single target Snarl off, which is massive. They do go for the Astral. All right, so this is +2. Probably +2 Life Orb, I'd imagine. Does a lot. Not Life Orb, but Snarl will come out into the Calyx. That's a ton of damage. Excellent. We do get a special attack drop, which is fantastic. Okay. I'm liking the spot because next turn I can go out into... Smeargle comes in. I can go out... Do I want to sack Jugulus? I feel like the play is just to always go Amoonguss here and click Protect with my Calyrex. They always have to fake out the Calyrex this slot. Actually, my better play would be to go for a Snarl, I think, and swap out into Amoonguss. Actually, no, it's to taunt the Smeargle and go out into Amoonguss. Because they have to fake out the Calyrex here. Because if they don't fake out the Calyrex, basically what happens is then they have to play a mind game between Follow Me and Spore, right? So the reason I'm going to go Amoonguss here is because I'm trying to catch them going for the fake out here. Because we see the Calyrex go for the Terra. Going to be Terra normal. Okay. I guess they are... I mean, they are they're probably just hoping that if they don't knock out the Jugulus, that they are able to live the next Snarl. So I do get the Rocky Helmet damage, which is massive. So I do break a Sash here. But we are going to see Astral Barrage come out. And yeah, it doesn't pick up a knockout. All right. And I do get a taunt off in the Smeargle. So this means the Smeargle can't make a play here. So this is actually kind of massive because now I can go for quite a few different options. Special attack rise doesn't matter. Special defense fall. Now I can go out into, like, for instance, I can go out on a Calyrex and I can throw off a Spore here. Now I have a few options. I could Spore the Smeargle. I could Pollen Puff the Calyrex if I think that KOs. Which I think it should. I could also just Spore my Jugulus here, which I think is always correct. Yeah, I like to play just Sporing my Iron Jugulus because they're going to go out on Rhydon. And because they go to Rhydon, like, this is fine. Because I get Glacial Land's power off, which is really good. And because Electric Terrain is summoned, that means my Iron Jugulus is going to be faster than the Calyrex in future turns, which is really nice, actually. So I'm feeling pretty decent about this position. I don't know if they Protect or if they just Astral. I'm okay with either. But let's see. I should have counted the turns of Trick Room that I had remaining, but this should be... Yeah, it should be okay because Pollen Puff will heal. Then they're going to go for Astral. Calyrex will survive because the Astral I took was +2 and this is only +1. And that did +2 did 75%. So yeah, they crit my Amoonguss, which is fine. I wasn't risking the Pollen Puff KOing my other slot, which is why I made the play I did. I have to be careful because I could definitely get Revenge KO'd, but I do think that what turn was that? That was turn 3. Okay. I think we just go into Iron Jugulus now. I think I just go into Iron Jugulus. This Calyrex Ice Rider just gets a free Glacial Lands KO here. Like, there's not really a punish to the Glacial Lands here. Oh, it is the last turn Trick Room. Okay. I get a Glacial Lance off. And do I go for Snarl? Do I Tailwind here? No one doesn't accomplish anything. That's the problem. Actually, no, I should go for Tailwind. Yeah, no, I do go for Tailwind. Okay, I do see it. It's kind of a mind game, but I definitely see how I'm getting out of this. Okay. It is a mind game the next turn, but I should be able to KO the Rhydon here, Glacial, as they protect the Cali Ice or protect the Shadow Rider. Rhydon's probably going to faint here to bring out Smeargle. They sacked the Smeargle? Is it Scarf Calyx? Because that's the only way you should make that play. Yeah, I think it is. Oh, but I might have to hit Hurricane because I don't think the Snarl will knock out the Shadow Rider at this range. Okay, I do get the Glacial to KO the Smeargle. Getting that Smeargle with the Rocky Helmet chip was actually really important for allowing me to get that KO. All right. Like what I thought was happening was Rhydon was gonna sack there. They bring out the Smeargle. They have fake out pressure against the Jugulus. They click fake out on the Jugulus, and then they go for a Astral Barrage. But now I'm feeling pretty okay about my spot because they don't know my last Pokemon. I mean, they might think it's Kyogre, so if they electric move, that's a huge mistake. But we protect Calyrex. Does Snarl I don't think Snarl KOs. I don't think Snarl KOs to Calyrex. I'm gonna Hurricane. I got a raw Hurricane. If they get double attack, this is also ugly, but it depends on what the Rhydon locks itself into. Okay, we hit the Hurricane. That should seal us the win. Ooh, okay. That was scary. That was scary. But the reason I maneuvered like I did is because I was trying to put myself in a position to KO the Calyrex. I thought I could Spore, but then I forgot their secondary restricted was Rhydon, which is interesting on this kind of team. But all right, awesome. I can go for Glacial Lands and I can go for Snarl here. I'm kind of curious why they sacked the Smeargle, because I thought sacking the Rhydon was always the play there, but it worked out for me huge. Get Snarl off. As they Electro Drift, I don't know if this is, we still can't tell if it's Specs or Scarf, but Calyrex will go down, but the Rhydon will have one chance to win. Well, let's see. We haven't seen its item yet. Is this the Life Orb? It's not. So I don't think they can knock out a Solvus Rhyperior even for crit, because yeah, I'm pretty sure they can't. So I gotta go for the high horsepower into Rhydon, and I gotta go for the Snarl here. And please land a high horsepower. That will seal it, but the game is gonna be forfeit. It could be Specs, it could be Scarf. Rhyperior cleans up the end game guaranteed. So even though they get to show up in the battle, I was trying to position Rhyperior to sweep in the Trick Room, which was definitely possible. I just had to play around the Smeargle. I feel like the Taunt Trap did work out pretty well in my favor. I guess I could have taken the knock on the Cali, but I did like the Taunt play a lot because it just prevented any wide guard or follow me mind games, and I wasn't forced to hit Hurricane in that exact situation. I feel like a lot of the planning, it kind of worked out as it went along, but yeah, I do think that the Rhydon switching out into Smeargle was probably the downfall, because they couldn't play like a mind game, because if Smeargle was the last Pokemon, they had a fake out game into my Iron Jugulus. Iron Jugulus goes down, and then I think it comes down to Rhyperior coming out the field. I think Rhyperior will live a +1, or I think it would live plus the Astral Barrage since it wasn't Life Orb, because I have the Assault Vest and a Lost but Death. The question is, what move does the Smeargle click? Does it click Wide Guard or does it click Follow Me? And I have to get that mind game right, because if I do KO the Calyrex with the right attack, I do win the game. All right, let's go over to games. In game 1, well, losing Rhyperior turn 1 isn't the greatest start to showcase how good it is, but at least it was able to draw an attack away from a Rhydon, which was important, and set up a position where Kyogre was just especially nice, that it was able to threaten a lot with the Water Spout. With the Terra Water Call on the Iron Hands and finishing out with Seed Bomb just allowed Kyogre to keep clicking Water Spout and my Calyrex Ice Rider to control the board. In game 2, a very tough game where I was fortunate that they didn't get the knockout onto my Calyrex to set up Trick Room and no double protect on the Rhydon. But probably should have went for a Thunder with Kyogre onto the Lunala and protect Calyrex instead of switching to Rhyperior to get rid of the Wide Guard Lunala. Yeah, it was just a little bit tricky here and there just because of the fact that I could have really lost, especially pretty early, because it was just a very awkward position to be in. However, was able to get a knockout eventually and sealed away under the Trick Room. In game 3, Thunder Wave is that kind of move at times. Not the greatest start, but against a banded Urshifu as well as the Calyrex Ice Rider, it was probably the best position I could manage, and without multiple pairs, probably would have been in a decent spot. I could have gotten more attacks off, and yeah, it could have been a bit better. However, probably should have greeted the Origin Pulse play, because I think Origin Pulse would have been able to knock out the Terra Water Cali Ice because it was just so low at that point, and it would have been better. Of course, I would have had to hit Origin Pulse, but that's also just a different story, and probably was a move that gave me better odds in the end. In game 4, I don't think this lead was very good, but I just tried to manage. I was able to get a pretty good Tailwind off with a Water Spout that was just able to threaten a ton of damage. Maybe I should just Origin Pulse locked in, because I think it would have probably been a better result than just locking the Water Spout. However, I was just able to get the hits off into the Amoonguss correctly with that Glacial Lance especially, which was really valuable because when I got rid of the Amoonguss, it meant no Pollen Puff healing for the Zamazenta. The fact that I didn't go for the Wide Guard was really nice because of the fact that I caught the one turn that they were going to not click the Wide Guard, and I punished it exactly with the Glacial Lance, and then was able to set up a really good end game for my Calyx Ice Rider in the end. Game 5 was able to get some really nice damage with Okoing the Urshifu and with their Committal Terra Grass on the Volcarona. My Calyx Ice Rider and Terra Water Rhyperior were very hard to stop for them in the end. In game 6 was a bit tricky to navigate how I wanted, but was able to shut down the Smeargle, which pretty much meant that they couldn't accomplish much with it, and them keeping the Rhydon alive instead of the Smeargle towards the end of Trick Room made my endgame a lot easier for getting the final knockouts. So how was the team? Kyogre and Calyx Ice Rider, of course, really strong. Choice Specs Water Splash is able to do a ton of damage under the rain with the Calyx Ice Rider, of course, another absurd Pokemon. And I do think that it's just, if you do put them in the right positions, they are just going to accomplish a lot and dish out a ton of damage across opponents' teams. I do think the team does have a bit of trickery. It can be hard to pilot at times, mainly because there's only 2 Pokemon that have Protect with the Amoonguss Calyx Ice Rider. There's no Fairy on the team, which means that you do get threatened by Draco Meteor and Rhydon. So if you do fight a Rhydon, it could be very scary on the Draco Meteor, especially if they click Draco Meteor. It's going to do a ton of damage onto a Mon and get a potential knockout, so that could be scary. It's really hard to trade for it. However, Rhyperior was still able to do a decent amount of work where it was able to at least draw away a few electric type attacks and fire off some pretty powerful hits. Was it the best Pokemon? No. But was it a Pokemon that had a niche and was able to provide for it? Yes. If you'd like to try out the team for yourself, the rental code is on your screen. It will only be available for 1 week after this video is published, so make sure you try it out while you can. Otherwise, you can check out the details of the team and the creator down below the description. And of course, subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.